But here's where it gets weird. Back then, a lot of these towns were tiny, underdeveloped, and barely mapped. So, how did they manage to build massive, ornate stone buildings with imported materials, domes, towers, spiral staircases, sometimes before the railroad was even operational in those towns? Who funded that? Was the labor force? Where's the documentation? Here's like a few like of the crazy examples, right? So like Southern governor mansions in like Mississippi, Texas, these lavish antebellum homes built pre-Civil War were later converted into schools or museums after the owners lost everything. There's these old Masonic lodges and Oddfellows halls, gigantic multi-story stone buildings that were often repurposed into courthouses or city halls after the 1873 panic. And in cities like San Francisco or Chicago, fires and other natural disasters cleared out ownership records. Stone buildings were some were left still standing, and the city just took over. But the new civic function of these became the official origin. In the past, quietly buried, right? So, like I said, the Panic of 1873 wrecked railroad fortunes and estate wealth. The Panic then of 1893 collapsed banks across the Midwest. The government foreclosed on these mansions, seized assets, repurposed the buildings for schools, hospitals, and jails. Enter Andrew Carnegie. His library campaign funded over 1,600 buildings from 1883 to 1929. But here's the twist. Some of those new libraries were not built from scratch. They were installed inside older pre-existing buildings, often former mansions or civic halls. And while Carnegie's work uplifted literacy, it also helped to sanitize the narrative, turning these stories of foreclosures, wealth collapse, and erased ownership into tales of progress and education. That's where it happens. When we say a school was founded in 1901, we're often starting the clock late. That building may have been standing for decades, built by somebody else under a story no one tells anymore. And in places with sparse populations and limited records, that makes the whole thing feel like a mystery. But it's not always that mysterious. They did take time to construct. The 1 to 2 year construction stories we hear are likely just the repurposing and renovation timelines, not the original. It's a pattern. Wealth collapses, buildings are seized, they're repackaged through civic projects, history is rewritten with a friendlier headline. Why are there no construction photos? Because the construction that aligns with the founding date was only the renovation, and the people who really constructed it, the elite had no interest in showcasing that exploited labor with photographic evidence. They just wanted that swept under the rug.